I have to say, I have yet to talk with Alex in person or face to face. And this is going to be for the first time. I would consider her like one of the legit most intelligent people on the timeline.
Facts.
Is that fair?
Facts.
Is that fair?
Absolute facts.
I would consider her that. She's got like deep fashion background. When she talks about like product market fit and like working with big companies, they're like companies with B's and T's behind the revenue, So
Yes.
she's always just kind of like low key in a good way, low key kind of big dogging people like from where she's coming from. I feel like her mantra is no best practices. She got an incredible newsletter and she's going to be speaking at Commerce Roundtable. I'm hoping we can get a little sneak peek and talk with her today. I'm talking about the one and only Alex Greifeld. Alex, get inside this show. Get in here. There she is. There she is.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Alex, we appreciate you making the time and joining us. Have you flown in yet? Are you on your way to Austin soon?
I'm not getting in until Sunday at like 10 at night.
That, economical time usage there,
Yeah.
if you got a family, you got kids, you want to be away as little as possible. I totally understand that. Alex, I would love if you would just give everybody a little background on yourself starting out here because there's some of you that's wrapped in mystique and mystery. You've got incredible background behind you, and you've worked with like incredible people and businesses, and that comes out in the content that you produce. But I'd love it if you give us a little foundation for where you are coming from and what you're doing now, Alex.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize I don't self-promote hard enough, but
Definitely not.
my quick backstory is I actually started my career as a fashion designer, like literally making mom jeans before that was cool.
Wow.
I quickly realized that was not what I wanted to do with my life. So I pivoted to eCom and digital marketing, did that at various brands for almost 10 years, and then started my own consulting practice in 2022. And I've really been active on Twitter since I started when it was still called Twitter.
Yeah.
Back in like the DTC 2.0 era with the big VC funded brands. And obviously like things have majorly evolved since then, but it's been a fun ride. Right now, primarily what I've been doing, I've been working as the creative strategist for a brand called Stars and Honey. It's a collagen protein bar brand. They're absolutely delicious. I swear to God, this is not a plug. But they're so good. It's easy to sell a product when it's actually good. But in addition to that, I do kind of like a hybrid of growth consulting and creative strategy work, because what I find is that no matter what the problem is and how it manifests, the answer is usually to make better ads, but like that is the least actionable, most condescending advice that you can get like on the internet.
That's
so
great.
It's like, how do you actually do that? What does that mean for each specific brand? And are the ads struggling because of a creative thing, or is it because of some upstream decision that's being made? So that's my work. That's what I do.
I think you're dead on your point here about how we all need to make better ads. And it's also like kind of insulting when you say that, it's like, hi team, things are struggling. I know. What do we need to do here? The ads, they kind of stink. The ones that you've been putting out here are not up to par. And I'm glad to know about Stars and Honey. This is the first that I have known about it. They do look delicious, and you sew in that collagen. You've got some path forward. Colin, I really want to hear from Alex. I want to hear some sampling about what's coming at Commerce Roundtable, but I don't know where you want to take it next. You take it where you want to drive next, but I want to hear about Commerce Roundtable at some point.
For sure. Yeah, we can definitely touch on that. I would imagine that you had a ton of opportunity inbound from brands basically being like, hey, I need you to work with me. I mean, we've been following you for forever. You are one of the biggest brains in our space. what drew you to Stars and Honey, and what kind of allowed them to like sell you on them? Why did you choose them at the end of the day?
Because, well, I actually started working with the founder when he was developing the brand, when it was like pre-launch. And it was just a really interesting concept. And we worked on positioning, and I was like, this is a really good idea, like in my mind. And then the project concluded, and he kind of handled the go-to-market on his own. And then when I think the brand was about 18 or 24 months old, he came back and said, we've been growing really strongly. We're scaling things up. We need someone who's dedicated to creative strategy. Like, do you want to come on board and do this? And the way that I've worked up until this point is my longest client relationships are typically the brands where I think like, this is a really good idea that has legs, and I like working with the team. And so this checked both of those boxes, and it's just continued to work really well. So no complaints on my
That's
end.
good.
I love that. That's a great rationale.
Alex, I have this thought that for marketers, they really need to bet on the right horse in order to have a successful career. And I mean, obviously it sounds like Stars and Honey. You've that's a relationship you want to continue. But do you agree? I mean, I feel like it comes down to the right product, right team, et cetera. And you get in there, and then you've got a real path forward. But sometimes you get stuck in a bad situation. It doesn't matter how many good ads you make, you're not moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's a big reason why I switched into consulting, because it's like when you're working as a full-time employee, unless the brand is like a rocket ship and it is in that rare place where it's like right product, right time, right trend, right team, right funding model and goals, you're always going to hit a point in your career where the problem that you're solving for is kind of like upstream of what you're actually accountable for. So you're in the situation where you're like coming into work every day, just like doing everything you can to achieve your number or help the team achieve its goals. But you know that like such a large aspect of it is outside of your control. And so like, unless you're in the C-suite, that's the exception. But I think for marketers, yes, opportunity selection is such a big part of your career success.
One of the things that I have seen you remark on, and I think, this comes out in your newsletter in many ways often, and I am thankful for you promulgating it, because it helps me rethink some of the things that I do, and everybody needs to sign up for your newsletter if they haven't. But you've got this theme, this principle of no best practices, which is like exactly the opposite of what I want. I want best practices. I want something packaged together that I can put in my pocket, and it's going to make me millions of dollars, and I'm going to look so smart to my boss, and I'm guaranteed success. Could you kind of dig into that a little bit? Like how did you arrive to that? And why is that like a foundational piece of your thinking that you bring to brands and when you talk with them?
It actually started with one of my former bosses who I absolutely love, and who is so smart. So don't take this as a knock on this person. She always used to ask at the end of every meeting with an external partner, okay, so like, what are the best practices for implementing that? And I started to pick it up, because it's like when you're junior, you pick up this kind of stuff through osmosis. And then my next role, I got into a situation where the business was tanking and no best practices were working. And I was working with some really talented people who were like Ivy League educated and worked in private equity and were so senior and so smart. And they were all throwing their best practices at the wall, and like nothing was working. Wow. And no one had the right framework to understand why we couldn't make our sales get back on track. And that was like this foundational moment where I'm like, there are no best practices, and I need a different tool set for, if this ever happens to me in the future, understanding what's actually happening so I can get back in control of what's going on.
That makes a lot of sense.
You just dove there into the fact that there are no best practices. Everything is constantly in the air and changing. What's working for you right now? If there's maybe 1, 2, 3 things that you are kind of honing in on as, okay, right now for this moment, down to the last minute, these are the things that are currently working. Even though it's not tomorrow, they probably won't work then, but now they're working for the time being.
What are the best practices? No,
yeah.
Okay. I think saying there are never any best practices isn't fair. Like there are rules to the game. Like when it comes, whether it's Meta, TikTok Shop, Amazon, it's like there are rules to the game that are set by, you know, the one who holds the gold makes the rules. Zuck sets the rules. Amazon, not Bezos anymore. He left, but whoever's leading Amazon sets the rules. So it's kind of like, yes, you have to, if you're saying I'm leaning on Meta or Amazon or TikTok Shop or whatever it is for growth, you have to learn the rules and build your strategy around the rules. And those are the best practices worth knowing. Like, I'm trying to think of some really out there things that people try to do. Like, I know, well, I work with a lot of fashion brands. So they'll always want to run advertising that looks like it should be a photo shoot that they're running in Vogue, where like you can barely even tell what the actual product is being advertised. That's not going to convert. So a best practice would be show one product that you're trying to sell in the ad. A lot of it is as simple as that. But when you zoom out and you have a fashion brand whose their sales are stuck, they can't grow, making those swaps might help them, but there's almost always a deeper upstream issue that has to be resolved more holistically. And that's where the no best practices comes in.
That makes so much sense. And I'm sure that you've seen that a number of times. And as you talk about it, I can think of that very thing myself that I've seen a number of times too. Alex, tell us, you're going to be talking at Commerce Roundtable. You're getting in Sunday night. I don't know if it's Monday or Tuesday. We're going to be there. We're going to be live streaming from there.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I'd love it if you would just, open the cupboard a little bit, not too much. I know people got to come. You got to come to the conference, but I'd love it if you would just tell us a little bit about what you're going to talk about. Give us a little sampling of what's going to be coming out here.
I'm going to talk about AI.
All right.
I'm going to talk about my AI journey and kind of developing the no best practices framework on these tools.
Really?
Because honestly, I went into Q4, like really went into the second half of last year with a lot of anxiety about it, because I'm sure maybe more like existential dread is a more appropriate way of just describing it. But I'm sure you've all seen the posts where it's like, you're going to be in the global underclass if you don't make like 10 apps, like vibe code 10 apps in the app store, like right now. Or I have this one-shot prompt that's going to make you 100 claymation ads, just comment prompt and follow me. Like all of this stuff, trying to dig through it and understand what's real and what's fake, because an unfortunate trend on social media, like not just X, but anywhere you go, is people just make stuff up to go viral. And I feel like that's gotten worse as time has gone on. So my talk is going to be about busting 3 myths around AI and practical strategies that brands at any size can use to start to implement the tools and get value out of them, even if they're not highly technical, or ready to like replace their entire team with a one-shot prompt or something.
I like that.
Gosh, I love that. What are you seeing? I mean, could you sprinkle a little bit on us about
maybe just one? Maybe just one?
Half of one? What brand should be considering?
I think the thing that makes the tools most valuable is context. And you have to make this is like my big takeaway from the talk is the power of AI compounds with inner work. So the more confident you are as a leader or a brand in exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish in the next 2 to 5 years and what you are and are not willing to do to accomplish that, the more you'll be able to approach AI in a focused and effective way. Because
Wow.
a drop shipper can spam 100 statics a day and say the most unhinged stuff like this cures cancer, but that's not creating enterprise value.
Right.
And using AI assets, even in and of themselves, for younger generations is like trust dilutive and brand dilutive. So not for everyone, but for a lot of people. And the younger you are, the less they trust it. And there's a difference between trying to use AI to spoof a real person and Fruit Island, which you guys were talking about before.
We love that. We love Fruit Island.
I do.
Fruit Island, people like that because they know it's fake. They know it's entertainment. Yeah. So that's fine for a lot of people. If the Fruit Island fruit turned around and said, like, take this magical pill, it's going to cure your cancer, I think that would start to bother a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's creating those frameworks around how you're even going to approach the tools, because the onboarding for most of them is not there. And the options are infinite, and you can just dump a lot of energy into making something happen only to turn around and find that like the use case you built for is no longer relevant, or so it's like you have to measure. Like, I come from the fashion design space. You have to measure twice before you cut, or you might get messed up.
Measure once, cut twice. Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
Measure twice, cut once. Yeah.
Alex,
Carpentry too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Alex, when you say AI myths to bust, when you say frameworks for establishing the right context, when you say inner work here for most productive work there, that's exciting. That's exciting. Those are good headlines to sell there. Wow. Well, I think probably what's going to happen is I think we're going to be live streaming Colin while she's talking.
Oh God!
So we'll be covering it.
We're gonna have to have you come after you talk. You're gonna have to step off the stage and come give us the rest of the details, because I want the frameworks. Is that fair, Colin?
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair. Alex, I think whatever your newsletter subscriber list is, I think it needs to be double.
Absolutely.
And I think everybody and their mom needs to go get on your list. Now, I went to it this morning and it wasn't working for me. Was I going to the right one? Nobestpractices.co. Is that the right URL?
That's like my archive, but to sign up, you go to nobestpractices.co/newsletter. It's the link in my Twitter or X bio.
Nobestpractices.co/newsletter. I am subscribed. And yeah, it's working for me now. I think it's working for me. Okay. I want everybody to go and sign up for Alex's newsletter. I want everybody to come to Commerce Roundtable. There's still a few tickets left, and listen to Alex. Alex, what else do we need to do? Where can we follow you, talk with you? There's probably somebody that wants to work with you and get your mind share afterward here. Where should they go and talk with you?
So hey, it's Alex P, as in potato, on Twitter. I got that before I got married, and then I couldn't change my name because someone else took Alex G.
Oh.
But that's my X handle. I'm on there daily. My newsletter, best place to stay updated. And then you can email me at hello@nobestpractices.co if you have any questions or concerns.
There we go. Well, Alex, we look forward to having you back and getting as much as we can at Commerce Roundtable. We appreciate you making the time and joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.